How you doing, sir?
Hey, how lovely to see you.
Nice to see you. I'm going to
Crazy
start with.
world.
Oh, sorry. What?
Even in this crazy world of a
100%.
crazy Zoom.
100%. I had a lot of fun with this movie. It is literally nonstop action, like beginning to end. It slows down a few times, but it's a lot of action. How did you pull this off? The amount of action you have with obviously the budget. You obviously never have enough budget, but how did you do this?
We prepped for a long time, so everything was kind of meticulously planned. And then I think one of the keys to kind of make the movie look as big as it is we went to real locations to shoot it. I think when you try and make a movie like this, there are two ways of doing it. One is to stay in a studio backlot situation, put up a big green screen, shoot against the green screen, and then create the environment in the computer. I didn't want to take that route because I felt it would make the movie feel a little kind of synthetic. I knew the monsters had to be CG, so I thought everything else in the movie should be as real as we could possibly make it. And so we went to these insanely remote, real, epic-looking locations and shot the movie for real. And then inserted the creatures into those plates that we'd shot. And I think we got not just insane production value, but also an insane look for the movie by going to these remote locations and shooting for real. And quite often, a lot of these locations were places that had never been put on camera before, which is really exciting for me as a filmmaker because he's so used to going to places where other people have shot already. To be able to go and shoot something fresh and exciting to create this brand new world was thrilling for me. But it was tough. We had to take the whole cast and crew, 350 people, and have them live in tent villages, kind of hundreds of miles away from the nearest habitation. We'd put in roads. We'd have to kind of dig wells for water. It was real kind of extreme guerrilla filmmaking. But I think the look we got is pretty exceptional and pretty unique.
At what day of the shoot did you realize shooting in a desert sucks?
Day one. It didn't take very long.
Right.
For a whole bunch of reasons. It's hot. I don't know if anyone ever told you that, but it's hot in the desert.
Sure.
And so for the actors, especially Tony, he's wearing all this fur trimming on his outfits, and like the costumes are very hot, so it was very unpleasant for the actors. And then of course they're doing all this complex fight choreography, and they're having to do it in sand. And as anyone who's tried to run in the sand knows, it's like 5 times as difficult as kind of trying to do a fight scene when you're on just a level, flat floor. So it made everything difficult. And then, we'd be living in tents, and as hot as it was during the day, you'd go back to your tent. As soon as the sun went down, it would be below zero. And then generally these big storms would come up. They'd blow the tents away, or they'd knock over the windmill that was providing the water from the well. So there'd be no water. I mean, it was hard filmmaking, but it was very exciting at the same time. And also for the actors, it kind of put them in the mindset that they were in this new fantastic world. It felt like a kind of difficult, dangerous world they were in because they were actually, as actors, physically living it. They weren't kind of having to pretend it in front of the green screen and then go back to their hotel room at the Four Seasons.
Completely. I have not played the game, but I do know that the cat that's on the ship is a really big deal. And so talk a little bit about the importance of putting that character in the movie. And for fans of the video games, I know it's a big deal.
Well, I think I'm glad you really enjoyed the movie and you know nothing about the video game, because that's what we've tried to do, is fashion a movie that absolutely works. If you have no knowledge of the game, you can still come and really enjoy a great action adventure movie with giant monsters. But if you know the game, the movie is loaded with fine detail that really brings the game to life. All of the characters that Milla meets are characters from the video game. Their costumes are exactly correct. The locations are exactly correct. The monsters are exactly as they are in the game. And most of all, the Palico, the chef character that you meet, is taken directly from the game. And we consulted with the game makers, the creators of the game, to actually get every bit of detail about him right. I had several sessions trying to get the pitch of his voice correct. The meow. Because originally the game creator said, no, it's too high pitched, then it was too low pitched. And eventually, just like the baby bear's porridge, it was just right. We tried to really please the creators of the game, because I felt they were the gatekeepers to this property. And if they were happy, then the fans of the game would also be happy.
I don't want to get specific with any spoilers, but I think one of the things that I really enjoyed was there were some twists and turns that happened in the movie that I absolutely did not expect. And I don't even want to say where and when, because it will ruin things. But talk a little bit about sort of not, how can I say this? About, I don't think the audience is expecting some of the stuff that's going to happen in the movie.
Well, I think, genre audiences are the smartest audiences on the planet. I mean, and because they consume movies, they consume genre, they can generally be ahead of the movie because they kind of know all the conventions. So they kind of know where stories are generally headed. I showed my 13-year-old daughter Inception the other day, and it was incredible because I remember film critics being baffled by the plot of Inception. For some people, it was too complicated 10 years ago, right? My 13-year-old watched the first 15 minutes and then said, "Daddy, I think this is what's going to happen." And she pitched me the entire movie. She knew nothing about it, didn't even know who Leonardo DiCaprio was. So she's smart because she watches genre movies. She kind of had anticipated what it was going to be. So I've always seen it as my job as a genre filmmaker to try and kind of take the audience by surprise and kind of throw in something that you're just not expecting. You think you know where the movie's going to go, and then it goes in a completely different direction. And I think if you can achieve that with a genre audience, then you've really done your job as a director.
Obviously, well, I am curious. You've made it with Resident Evil. There were a lot of sequels. With this, is there thought in your brain of, if this is successful, doing more? Is it something that you're really interested in?
I love the world of the game. I became involved in it 12 years ago when I played the game for the first time in Japan. When really no one outside of Japan had knew what Monster Hunter was. It was kind of a Japanese only phenomena. And it's a game that's been going for 15 years. So it's obviously built a vast world, only part of which you can kind of put on screen in any one movie. So, it's a world I would love to return to. But for me, I've always tried to stay focused on one movie at a time. I think every movie has to function as a self-contained unit. And that's what this movie does. It tells, I think, a very strong story with some great character work between Milla and Tony, and a very satisfying story. And then, if audiences want more, then absolutely, it's a world I would love to delve back into.
On that note, I got to go. Seriously, I had a lot of fun with it, man. I hope it's a big hit for you guys.
Thank you so much.